This video is presented to you by www.testprepadda.com.
Dear students, in this session I will talk about science. Whenever we think about science, different pictures come in our mind, like watching stars through telescope, launch of spacecraft, recall Mangalyaan. Different inventions come in our mind, like television, mobiles, internet. All these things look very magical. We can even do video chatting with any person present in this world. Now I wanted to ask you, what is science? Many of you may say it is system of acquiring knowledge. Many of you may say it is the systematized way to study nature. Many of you may say study of physics, chemistry, biology, astronomy, etc. All these definitions are correct. But my question is, if you want to propose a science, then what will you do? If you become a scientist, then what will you do? Or what does a scientist do? If you really want to understand science, think about any science or any scientific theory which you have studied. For example, recall the derivation of F is equal to ma. We derived F is equal to ma with the help of Newton's second law of motion. If you recall, there we have written the first line, let us assume that mass is constant. Now you recall Rutherford's theory for the structure of the atom. There he gave some assumptions or postulates, like in the atom, most of the mass and all the positive charge is present at the center of the atom, which he called as nucleus. And then he assumed that electrons revolve around the nucleus. Now you can see every time I said assumption or assumptions. So for me, science is nothing but, or scientific theory is nothing but assumption or a set of assumptions. But these assumptions are not taken randomly. They are based upon experimental facts, experimental observations. So, what is the conclusion? Science is nothing but a set of assumptions to explain experimental observations or facts. So, when you become a scientist, you will do experiments, you will get observations, and to explain those observations, you can propose some assumptions that you can call as your theory or your science. So what will you say? It's very easy to become a scientist? Yes, it's easy, but at every stage, you will be questioned. Your science will be questioned, and others may do the same experiment, and if they get any other observation which you have not included in your science, they will ask you to explain that observation. In that case, you have to include You have to include that observation in your science. You have to provide a proper explanation for that observation, new observation. And if you fail to do that, your theory or your science will be rejected. And in that case, another science or another scientific theory will come into picture to explain all observations. So, another conclusion is science is not fixed. It is dynamic in nature. There is no final theory. There is no final science. You can always question a science. Recall the planetary motion. Initially, it was considered as circular orbits. But to fit the data more correctly, it was replaced with elliptical orbits. Recall the different theories given for the origin of life on Earth. Why so many theories? Because a scientific theory will not be considered correct until and unless it considers or it includes all observations, all facts. Recall the Thomson's model for the structure of the atom, where he said atom is a sphere of positive charge in which electrons are embedded. But this theory was rejected because the theory could not explain the experimental observations of alpha particle scattering experiment. This experiment was done by Rutherford on atoms with the help of thin gold foil, and the observations were like most of the alpha particles passed through the gold foil without any deflection. But in case of Thomson model, he assumed that atom is a sphere of positive charge, and if this is correct, then most of the alpha particles should be deflected. But this did not happen. That is why we rejected Thomson's model for the structure of the atom. And in that case, another theory came into picture. So the conclusion is science or a scientific theory is nothing but a set of assumptions proposed to explain facts and experimental observations. Science must account for any new experimental observation. Let me tell you one thing that plays a very important role in developing science is curiosity. As a human, we all are curious to know something. So this human behavior led to the development of many scientific theories. Even a small kid wants to know why there is a day and night. What is the reason of a rainbow? Why do we have summer, rainy and winter seasons? How did life begin? Why does earthquake occur? How does a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse happen? Why do we dream? Let me tell you that this human behavior led to the development of modern science and technology. By developing scientific methods, we try to understand the natural phenomena. We modify them, even we control them. I hope you have understood this session. You have understood everything, whatever we talked in this session. And in future, many of you will become scientists and will help the society by developing new scientific theories. Thank you.
This video is presented to you by www.testprepadda.com. Testprepadda.com provides free audio-visual lectures of different subjects by expert faculties, free online tests prepared by expert faculties to students who are preparing for engineering or medical entrance exams or planning to take exams like KVPY, Olympiad, etc. It provides a platform where students can interact with mentors to improve their performance in the exams. The mission of this online medium is to help students to achieve their goals. Log on to www.testprepadda.com to watch free video lectures on different topics, to download free revision notes, to take free chapter-wise online tests, progressive test and mock test, to discuss doubts with mentors. Thank you for watching the video. To stay up to date with the latest videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us on our Facebook page, Test Prep Adda. All the best.